My name is WendyNeonh. I am the Emergency Wash Officer based at the IFRC Asia Pacific Regional Office in Kuala Lumpur. I've been managing the Emergency Wash project since I joined the Health Unit back in 2016. That is also the year where, for the first time ever, the Regional Office had an Emergency Wash Officer, who is primarily tasked with advancing the Emergency Wash portfolio in the Asia Pacific region, as well as taking on other regional responsibilities. The Japanese Red Cross Society, or JRCS, has been a long-time supporter of emergency wash initiatives in the region. Since 2012, up to 29 national societies have benefited from capacity development, knowledge sharing, wash assets, and country-level technical support. Now let's have a closer look at some of the main targeted countries over the past few years. You can see that since 2015 to date, Bangladesh, Cambodia, Laos, and the Pacific have consistently received funding allocation and support. On average, since 2016, JRCS has been channeling a little over 200,000 Swiss francs on an annual basis for emergency wash. The regional office has also been receiving funding that enable events and efforts at the regional level. The program aims for Asia Pacific national societies to maintain, improve, and scale up wash capacities to meet acute and chronic needs. So we are talking about fulfilling needs not only during disasters, but also efforts to better prepare national societies during peace times. The support is provided or delivered through three approaches. Equipping for emergencies, where capacity building initiatives are carried out to provide technical knowledge and know-how on wash approaches and concepts. Empowering communities, where key information is cascaded down to community members in disaster-prone areas, and ensuring effective strategies, where we work closely with national societies for effective and efficient response through improvements in national society systems and mechanisms. Now, before we move any further, let's look at who are the key actors and how we are all working together under this project. The countries that are supported in this Trumps project are Bangladesh, Cambodia, Laos, and the Pacific, more specifically Palau and Samoa. In Bangladesh, Cambodia, and Laos, communication is mainly directly with the national society focal points, and where relevant and needed, we will keep the IFRC counterpart in communication as well. Our role at the regional office is threefold. One, we are accountable, of course, to the targeted national society, where we work closely with the WASH focal points to plan, implement, monitor, and report the project activities. In pre-COVID times, technical support was mainly done through in-country missions. But during the pandemic times, we have been coping well with remote support through more constant online discussions. Secondly, we lead regional level initiatives such as aligning national societies with IFRC standardized guidelines, including development of IEC materials and guidelines. One of our current efforts is actually working on a MANPAC guide, which we hope can better support national societies with maintenance and troubleshooting of wash assets. Last but not least, we are accountable to JRCS as the donor. In the initial stages, we negotiate with JRCS on project coverage, budget, and scope of activities. We ensure that project activities and expenditures are on track and as per plan, coupled with timely reporting to the donor. Let's take a quick look at some of the key deliverables of the targeted countries for this round support, which has started in April this year until March next year. This is just to give you an overview of the nature of activities. The details will be provided by my fellow colleagues after this. In general, we can see that there is a combination of hardware and software activities. Hardware being support in wash assets, where usually the regional office will assist national societies to purchase key wash equipment and materials. Software activities include trainings for national society staff and volunteers, especially at the branch level, and hygiene outreach activities targeting community members. The project also allocates some funding for national societies to utilize for small-scale emergency response. We place great emphasis on learning and capturing lessons. 2 internal reviews have been carried out in 2017 and more recently in 2020, looking at how the implemented activities have contributed towards strengthening emergency wash capacities. Both these reviews have provided some great insights on how to better work and evolve with national societies. The link for these reviews will be provided in a follow-up message after this. Following these two reviews, we wanted to capture all the rich learnings and experiences that have happened over the past few years in a more digestible manner. Thus, we came up with the idea of commissioning a case study, which is a document that celebrates the achievements of national societies, which can then be shared with other national societies in the region and with potential partners who might be thinking about getting involved in emergency wash capacity development in the region. The case study takes a closer look at experiences in Bangladesh, Cambodia, Laos, and the Pacific sub-region. Now, I'll be mentioning a couple of figures as we go through the next two slides. Note that these figures are the culmination of emergency wash activities since 2016 up to November 2020. Let's look at what has been accomplished under the first objective, which is equipping for emergencies. A total of 28 manpacks have been procured and handed over to 6 national societies, 8 each in Bangladesh and Laos, 6 in Cambodia, 1 in PNG, 2 in Samoa, and 3 in Fiji. The project also provides a small budget for national societies to maintain these assets, including procurement of local spare parts and small repair works done locally. In addition to manpacks, we also have procured other key wash items for the national societies, such as other testing items. As a result of this support, national societies are now better able to expand the scope of emergency wash services, going beyond what they traditionally have done in the past. Branches now can respond as these assets are pre-positioned at the branch level rather than at the headquarter level. 54 trainings have been organized, reaching more than 1,200 participants, mainly consisting of staff and volunteers from 19 national societies, as well as representatives of government agencies and other organizations. A big part of these trainings is working with national societies to develop and strengthen their training modules by updating and aligning them with standardized guidelines. We place a lot of emphasis in making sure that there is progression of knowledge and know-how. So, for example, as a participant progresses from a unit level to a national level training, he or she will be exposed to new topics and gets to experience new methodologies and try out new tools. So we try to make it as interesting as possible to the participants. As a result of this support, staff and volunteers at the branch level have an opportunity to be trained in emergency wash and to increase their level of knowledge and know-how in this topic. We also consciously moved away from organizing trainings at headquarter level, which are usually located in capital cities that may not be feasible to staff and volunteers or may not be accessible to them at the district or provincial level. We will continue to adopt this approach, which is to bring trainings as local as possible. The project also allocates a small budget for national societies to be used in deploying trained human resources and wash assets to affected areas. A little backstory to this, the idea of allocating this small budget came from the internal review in 2017, where some national societies expressed delays in deploying people and assets to the affected areas because a lack of immediate funding. So we took this idea from the Nepal Red Cross Society, where at that time they had the same idea of having this small amount of resource available specifically for this purpose. Therefore, in subsequent years of support, we included a budget line for national societies to use for this purpose, which has proved time and time again its usefulness and value add to the national society. More than 109,000 people has been reached with emergency wash services as a result of deployment of volunteers and wash assets, made possible through this small fund allocation. The capacity to respond in a timely manner, together with the deployment of wash assets and trained human resources, have contributed to elevating the role of national societies, and now they are being viewed as a key player in emergency wash. This has reinforced the role of national societies as auxiliaries to the respective governments. A component under empowering communities is hygiene outreach. This is only applicable to Cambodian Red Cross, where branch staff and volunteers visit the targeted villages to talk about key health and hygiene issues. You may be thinking that this does not really fit squarely under the scope of emergency WASH, but it is important to include some preparedness activities to raise community awareness and to get them involved for more effective response action. More than 30,000 people have attended at least one hygiene outreach session in Cambodia. The methods used to communicate these messages are interactive. They utilize as much as possible visual aids such as flip charts, posters, and simple exercises. These outreach activities are a great way to capitalize their own Red Cross volunteers who understands the local areas and understands the local issues. It is also a great way for these volunteers to put what they have learned during trainings into practice. Looking at trainings organized since 2016, the percentage of females make up 34 to 46%. We see an increasing trend of more females coming forward and getting involved in trainings and being deployed. This is something that the project will continue to focus on and advocate. New topics are continuously being introduced and included into the National Society training modules, such as menstrual hygiene management. We try to challenge national societies in a way to broaden their scope and to introduce new information and knowledge in different thematic and cross-cutting areas. Another part of this support is development of key IEC material. They serve dual purpose. So they get distributed during hygiene outreach sessions, for example, and also they get distributed during emergency response, which reinforces the messages being communicated at that time. Besides IEC material, the project also supports national societies in localization, translation, and printing of key IFRC guidance documents, such as the WASH guidelines for hygiene promotion in emergency operations and the menstrual hygiene management guidelines. It is important to keep national societies updated on the latest information and standards. The process of developing national society capacity in emergency WASH response and preparedness takes years of effort, commitment, and work. It is not something that can be done within a short span of time. Therefore, this is an important factor to be considered by partners who are contemplating in investing in emergency WASH initiatives and should consider this factor thoroughly in order to see and to achieve tangible results. I'm sure you will hear this also from my colleagues after this, that it is paramount to have the right people at the right place for any project to be of any measure of success, especially in the case where a technical sector or a thematic area like WASH. This applies to both positions within the National Society and the IFRC offices. We will continue to balance hardware and software activities with continued focus on sustainability and localization. For example, we will continue to work closely with national societies to find local solutions. Moving forward, we will take digitalization more seriously, where we hope we will be able to allocate more resources to digitalize our emergency WASH modules so that we can expand our reach. That's all from me. Thanks so much for your attention. Over to you, Ludovic.